Hey guys, welcome to this week's analysis. We're going to look at Daria Bilodid and Tonaki. This is the World Finals of this year, so 2019. These two have met previously. They met at the World Championships in 2018, where Bilodid beat Tonaki. But Tonaki is world champion in 2017. So it's a really good match, and one thing I want to make sure when we're looking at our analysis, we're looking at judo through all levels, so from under 48 girls to plus hundreds men and everything in between. So it's not just going to be focused on just men or anything like that. I want it to be a complete analysis of how judo is at this level, and this is a great match to get us started. It's so interesting right from the beginning. You see the difference in size, and that does play a massive difference in a judo contest. Daria is looking about controlling the space, and Tonaki needs to close the distance. So they're both trying to do the opposites. And you can see straight away, by catching that sleeve, you're in control of the fight straight away. Generally, whoever has control of the gripping has the best chance of throwing. So it's so important to lead the fight as you want. And then where you're taller, the ability just to break your partner down, get them into newaza, is so much easier. So we'll look at also how Daria controls the space, and how Tonaki actually goes really far into this fight, as a real danger. So this is quite interesting right from the beginning. So you see the distance between these two, or at least the height difference between these two. Every time Tonaki's trying to get a grip, Daria's just moving back on her step, which means Tonaki's always having to overstretch. So she's always having to lean forwards, which then makes it easier for her to catch the grip. Okay, so all the time coming forwards there, just bringing her back. Now, this also works so well. Let's move on a little bit. It also works so well because Daria uses ouchi, kouchi quite a lot. As soon as you start to bring white or bring your partner onto you, they sit back and they resist, which is the perfect setup for ouchi and kouchi. So by making them walk forwards and then starting to drag, you have that ability straight away. So now they're attacking with not grip. Now this is really important. I want to stop this here actually. Daria's really good at sangaku, and Tonaki obviously knows this. And just watch this arm. This arm here is really important. It's not a standard defense to it, but it's used quite a bit. Okay, so we just forward this on. Watch the arm, like I said. So what she's trying to do is keep this arm in the way to stop. Okay, locking off between the knee and the foot here. So this arm is a really important defense here. You can see again, she's just trying to keep her arms in this position, not allowing her to lock it off, which makes it really difficult. Okay, so she's locked it off now, but look, there we go, and she's able to stand up. Okay, she actually caught the arm in the end, but it's a standard defense. It's a defense that's used quite a lot against sangaku, and definitely one to look at if you've never done it before, using that arm as your defense to block it through. And it's really difficult. So when you're against somebody who knows an awesome thrower, one of the escape routes is in newaza. So Tonaki knows there's no point just going to the floor, because if you go to the floor, you're just going to come under more pressure. So it means this person's always stuck. What do they go to newaza to try and get a breather or escape? Well, she can't, because the sangaku is going to be straight on her. And when she's standing up, there's so much pressure on her all the time. So she's really clever with her tactics of creating pressure. Bilodid. So they're not letting her settle with her right hand on, pulling it across her body. There. That's good pressure really to keep herself from being taken down to the ground from that gripping exchange from Tonaki, and she gets a penalty on Daria straight away, which is good. Good pressure all the time. Now holding hands all the time. She's chasing her. By moving back, always making her overstretch. There, head down again, head down. pressure. Now, when you're controlling the distance, it's no good just pulling this head down, because if you don't start attacking, you're not going to get anything from it. You will get penalised. And the idea of pulling the head down should be that your partner pulls the head back up, which means you can attack them. So you've got to be really busy with your feet. And this elbow is what controls the space. If this elbow's out to the side, so if this elbow comes up here, say, and is out to the side, this person can close the distance down. So when you're controlling the distance, this elbow takes a really important part. So you've got the sleeve, elbow down, and you're able to control the fight from there. So still, once again, down, down. One attack comes across, and there. Nice attack. That's her score. So let's go back. Let's see that again. Let's see how that comes in. So elbow down, controlling the space. And once again, she wants her to come up. Wants her to come up. Now, this point, there. She's starting to come up right now. This person's head's starting to come up. So we need to start creating a reaction. There. She's got a reaction. Now she's stepped back. She's come out of stance there. So she was quite square. She stepped back, which leaves this massive gap to turn into. And because they're moving this way, okay, so out of the area, she actually steps straight onto the turn, her left turn. There. And comes back. Let's watch her again. So we're here. Pressure on, pressure on. There. Pressure on that side, steps back, comes back in, steps across. And there, we've seen that a lot actually when it comes to competition judo. And it actually doesn't happen a lot with Japanese people, or at least Japanese fighters, I should say. When they go for their attack, okay, so we're here, boom. When they go for their attack, and this is where actually Uta Abe is amazing. Once she comes in, they're usually committed to their attack and they don't come back out again. But what we'll see is as soon as she's attacked, she comes back out again. She realises there's nothing there. Now, she might be worried about Daria stepping across, which is a fair point, but she steps away and Daria steps across anyway. So she might as well have stayed in, at least drove. There's a good chance if she stayed in, they both would have fell on their face. But because she come back out again, that just allowed your partner to come back in. Now, it happens all the time. You see it all the time, especially actually if you're looking at sort of cadet judo. They go for an attack, they don't believe it, then the other person comes across. Because you've had to step out of stance, you've created movement, and you're not throwing from it. Okay? So there, pulling across, this is a really good opposite-sided tactic, and especially if you enjoy Newaza, and I see it most against people who don't necessarily want to engage in tachiwaza, so they don't want to stay standing, but because Daria is so good in Newaza, she's happy to take her partner to the floor, so they take that sleeve off and they pull him across. Now, there. The only thing you have to be careful of when you're using this arm isn't straight. If this arm is straight, you could be accused of trying to throw with an arm lock, but because it's bent, you can step across all day. You're not worried whether you throw for Ippon or not, because you know you can transition into Newaza. So there we go. So Tonaki gets straight back to her feet, finishes that attack there. Alright. So it's not the end of the world. One of them... Daria's got a nice score on the board, but she has got a penalty as well. Okay, sorry, I'm not sure what's happening here. It should clear up. Here we go. So let's come back. So she's got another point for stepping out the area. Now, this is where her tactic of making her partner come onto her backfires a little bit, because where she wants her partner to overstretch, and you can see that's a good picture of how far her arm is away from her body, which is never where you want to be. You want your arms fairly close, same with your legs. The more you do this, the more you're off balance. But because Daria's direction is backwards, you're always going to put yourself close to the edge. So you see she's got 2 penalties now from going out of the area, and that's just purely because of her tactic of trying to make her partner step onto her, trying to bring her on. So it's really important, if you're using that tactic, that you use the area wisely and you circle on that area. By circling, you can also create a turn. So here, she does the cross gripping really effectively as well to break up the partner. Good control of the sleeve, and then good ouchi. Now, she threw Tonaki with ouchi in the final in 2018 for Ippon. So Tonaki knows it. She knows if she sits back on her heels, she's in danger. Now, that is good there. I want to go back to this point here. She knows she has to close that distance down to have a chance to throw. So here, closing that distance, coming under her arm. Here, closing there. You're always in danger when your partner turns, but actually she's still in good posture at this point. There. Now take him to the ground, and Tonaki's good in newaza herself. This is the first real chance she's got of actually turning her over. What I just want to see is, especially with the newaza rules now, at this point, Tonaki's never gone to the ground, but Daria's now grabbed her leg. So could you say at this point that's her third Shido? Because there's no newaza that started at this point. Let's go on. There. You're in tachiwaza here, not gone to the ground, and they're clearly grabbing the leg. So at this point, now she's gone into newaza, she started to engage. So you could say, well, actually, was that the right decision at the time? You know, obviously it's not my job to comment on those sorts of things, but it's good pressure. It's the first time she's really got close to Daria and actually made a mistake. You know, now look, composing herself. And this is one of the things we saw Teddy do quite a lot of. Good judo players take their time. They know how to control the pace of a fight. So she's just taken a second. She's back on it. She's turning again. But she's panicked. She's turning off the sleeve. Let's just go back one more time on that. Because look, the pace is up. Trying to come in, she's turning, trying to close that distance down, and then turning on the end of the sleeve. She hasn't got two hands on. This is much better, but the fight changes. Okay, so we've got 30 seconds left, 36 seconds. If you're down a score, you know you've got nothing to lose. You have to go forward. You're going to lose regardless. So if you get caught, it doesn't matter. But if you're winning, you know you've got to defend that score. You know, so you need that time. So another turn again, off the sleeves, not got that big left hand on again. So obviously now Tonaki's annoyed, she's putting the pressure on, and she's saying, well, this is a false attack. You know, is she dropping? So there, backwards again, making sure her partner's having to come on to her, 20 seconds. Now she's got a left hand on, this is much better. Tonaki takes her down. There's another grab of the legs actually. There's the next one, so you can sort of understand why Tonaki's a bit grieved at this point. There's already been one time that she's grabbed the legs previously. There's been two attacks where there's been no real attempt to throw. And then now when we're looking at this, the pressure's coming on. She's closing that distance down. She goes to the floor and then grabs the leg again. So it's a tough one. You know, it's great pressure from Tonaki. Nothing really there. She's turning, but there's no real impetus there. Back on. And that's no need to go into newaza there. Stay on your feet. And I think, you know, she has a right to feel a little bit upset about that. But that's judo. These things happen. You know, there could be another day where actually you pick up the win. But yeah, there's no doubting whatsoever. Daria's an amazing judo player. And she uses the rules, she uses the tactics really well. She fights hard, she's aggressive in tachiwaza, aggressive in newaza, and it looks like Tonaki's the only person really who's able to give her a decent fight. And I'm looking forward to how that progresses, especially when it comes to Tokyo. So yeah, great fight. Now I hope you've enjoyed this one, a little bit different from some of the other analysis. If you like it, hit like, hit share, subscribe, and thanks for watching.